So we're gonna go over the Video Photo Studio over at AICAIE today. I'm gonna be going over most of this equipment here, along with the how to set up the video cameras and stuff like that. So let's go start plugging some stuff in. So this is our green screen room, and we're gonna pull out the cameras which are stored in here. And do the whole shebang today. Clean some stuff out of the way so we can get to these cameras. Alright, so what we're looking for is just a 2-camera shoot. We're going to pull these out here. And then right here is where we keep our cables. There's 3 cables here. We have the camera 1 cable, and then where these plug in, what I like to do is run these up and around twice, just so it keeps the tension here, as opposed to all on this head when it gets plugged in. So this extension cord will go for the monitor. We can set that off to the side for right now. These go into this right here. There's a connector, so these pins all match up in a certain sequence up there, and then there's going to be a king pin that goes in a certain way. Sometimes you can twist it and then it twists into there. And then we have this BS in and BS out connector here, and these will actually go into this little spot right here. So, and then it shows in and out. So we're going to take our BS out, and it's a twist B and C in there, and then our BS in, and get it as best we can into that and twist it in there. So this is what our full camera should be looking like set up. We still have the extension cord that we have to plug in, and then we also have the headphones that need to get plugged into. So let's get that plugged in. And then this just plugs into the cable that's hanging down here. This provides the power to the monitor that's going on right here for the teleprompter. So we'll want to turn that guy on. Power button's right there. We'll also want to make sure the camera is on, and we'll also want to make sure our viewer monitor is on. So camera power is right here. And it's already in the on. Nope, that one's in the off position. We're going to go to the on position on that one. You won't see the power come up until we actually turn on the other one, or the control unit for this. And we want to make sure our headphones are plugged in for this too. So there's a set of headphones or a comm, and then these are going to go right here on the edge, and in it goes. So that should be one full setup camera right there. So if we do that, that's what it'll look like. And let's move to the next one. So camera 2, or the cable for the camera 2 is here. And we're going to do the same thing that we did on that camera 1. The other cameras we're going to do on this camera. Pull a little bit of slack out so you have something to work with. And same thing, we're going to go up into this and screw it in, and BS in and BS out. White one is out, black one is in. Okay, and then this one's already got the headphones plugged in on it, or the comm plugged in on it. We'll take the extension cord off the handle. And let's get this guy plugged in. And same thing here. Alright, this one is actually on the on position already here, so we're good there. We'll want to turn on this teleprompter monitor right there. And that looks good. The other thing we may have to check is this monitor here. Make sure that the power is actually on it, which it looks like it is. And let's check this other one. It's already on, so as soon as we fire that one up, we should be good to go. So the power comes in through this jack here, and then it's sent off to the power unit. This is like a Clearcom talkback video switcher, power switcher, which runs most of the stuff on this thing. On the handlebars, you've got a focus ring here. This will allow you to adjust the focus. And then on the other side, you have a zoom. You have a zoom in or a zoom out. And then you have some iris control here. Buttons, you can program these different buttons for different things. They're set up for either switching to record, or you can also do it as a look back monitor. So what you're seeing in this monitor is actually what's going on the screen in there, or being broadcast out. So you have the screen here, you have a viewfinder here. A lot of the stuff that's external is already in lieu of other stuff, like you already have a monitor for the viewfinder and the LCD here. Within here you have controls for like audio. We're not plugging in audio mics, so a lot of this stuff isn't going to apply to this, but if it was on a Rogue case or something like that, it would then come out. A lot of your video controls are going to be right here or right here on the front. You have an ND filter that allows you to change stuff. Once we fire up these cameras, I'll kind of go into that a little bit more. And then you have some comm controls here. So on the first part here, you have the highest one. Let me get some light so we can see. We have on mic, and then off on the mic, and then the down is PTT, which is push to talk. I found with students and faculty that if you just leave it on the on, it allows them to all communicate at the same time. And then they can all hear each other too without being stuck on or just being stuck off. Once we get the rest of this fired up, we'll kind of go over details more of it. The teleprompter is here. That's used by a see-through mirror or piece of glass. You shoot through it, the words come up here, and once we kind of get this fired up, I'll show you more of it. The monitor's there. You may have to adjust depending on if it's ever been used or not. And I think that is it for the cameras. I try to leave as much coil out of the way of the cameras, so as they're rolling around, they can have a cable spooler, somebody to run it. But then if they need to come back, they have enough room to actually come back. Alrighty, I think that is it for this room. These are the CCU units for the camera. I'll go over that in a second. Let's turn some light on in there. So let me go over this light board quickly. Alright, so our light board, you have your masters here, and then you have an X and a Y. Most of the time you're going to be using X, so you just take it all the way up. The only change you would do is if you had something different for on an X and Y. Usually they have two banks of this, and so you have the ability that this is your X scene, this would be your Y scene. But that's not really a big deal, since most of the time the studio is just on for us. So what happens right here is these are your masters. You want them all the way up. You have a grandmaster, which is like a blackout switch, and then you have an XY, which allows you to switch between the cross scenes. So like if X was full, which is what we're doing here, and then Y was at a lower setting, there's your master for Y, but they still end up bleeding into here. So to me, this doesn't necessarily mean it's not important, but not something we don't use here. Our lights have all been labeled here. 3 and 4 are the little LED spots that we have out there. And then the rest of these are the overhead lights. Let me go walk out there and I'll show you what just turned on. And because they're fluorescent, they'll take a second to warm up. And it looks like we have one that's either unplugged or being funky. I'll pull the ladder out. But these are the two LED spots right here that I'm walking into. And then we have fluorescent all the way around. For the green screen and for just general wash light screen. Let me go grab a ladder and see what's going on with these two lights. And then I'll move back to that fluorescent back there. Sometimes popping the breaker twice can do it too. So let me go try that. And sometimes we want these on full. That way they for sure get popped. That one's still not working. Okay, so we still have this one that's not working right there. And the fluorescent one in the back that is not working. Alright, so it looks like it was just a power issue, not connected all the way. This one might be the same issue. Yeah, so what I think the issue is they're pulling too much power all at the initial turn on. And so these are probably the last two on the chain, depending on how far they're actually being ran to get plugged in, if I were to guess. Alright, so that one's taken care of. Those two are taken care of. Let's move over to that one. So we unplug it, plug it back in. All the lights are working now. Wonderful. Cool. We are in a full video studio now. We have something interesting to look at. We've got the black screen there. And this one I'm going to do the chair, or get as close to it as I can. Alright, let's go start turning stuff on. Oh, actually one more thing. Let me pull this out. This BNC is actually a playback. And what it does is it allows you to set up a video monitor. And let me go grab the video monitor, TV screen, however you want to call it. I think of it as a news anchor's screen. You always see them standing next to a TV on the news, showing the most recent events. So we got this. We got these little twist locks, coffin locks undone. Twist locks out. This one's out too. Alright. And in here we have a TV. If you want to set that out of the way, we'll set this one out of the way. So on this, the TV actually comes up out of here and twists. So what we're looking to do is there's a release on it. And for us, the release is right here. And then we want to make sure these are not tightened down. So you release the release. And this will lift out. We'll go to about as high as we can on this without pinching cords or anything like that. We'll tighten these up as we twist. So, and then this guy is going to twist this way. just like so. And then within here, we should have a power cable, which looks like it may be down here. And this power cable goes in the back right there and into the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this guy in. And into the wall there. Pull this guy back, and then back to the BNC that we had laid out earlier. We can run this into the back of the TV, right next to where the power goes in. Alright, and it's twisted in there. Alright, we've got no signal, which is fine because we don't have anything powered up. Alright, if we come back in here. Now to power these guys up, there's a couple of different power spots. For each cart has one main one. Easiest one to get to is probably the Surgex down at the bottom. And the power on these is right here. So fired it up, it'll make its little chime. And then from there, it should start powering on stuff, depending on whether it was powered up before or not, or turned off before or not. Let's get that out of the way. Get this out of the way. And in here we have our laptops that run the media and then the teleprompter. Alright, and power for this guy is right there. And power for this very first one is also on the back at the top. So we're going to go right here. Now there's also these right here. We'll make sure that gets turned on. And let me check the other two just to make sure we're not missing anything. So on this one, we'll make sure these are all turned on. The amp is turned on, and the power is turned on for that. And this is the switcher slash scaler, or I take that back. This is the clock that syncs up everything. So in here, there's actually a power adapter for that, and that controls the actual raw switcher here. So if you ever miss that, that's where this guy's getting his power from. Put that back in there. Turn the 2 CCU units on, and then this ROS on here should already be on, which it looks like it is. So everything got turned on, should have been turned on. I was looking for all the power switches, which it looks like we got. This is all audio over here. I feel like this is just pointed down straight down. This is video playback here with graphics and effects. You have the recording monitor. You have the full program monitor there that you can look at and see every camera that's going on. And then you have like input world, output world, and audio world. This controls just the playbacks or the inputs of the cameras. You have camera 1, camera 2. You have an ability to switch between stuff, and then you have the teleprompter here. So if we come into that, let's log in there. You should have passwords to that. I don't need to go over that. Get them logged in, set up. For this, we actually have manuals on most of the equipment and where it's residing. We had a gracious teacher print all these out and put them in here for his class. We also have an admissions enrollment thing here too if you guys want to sign up for a degree in film production. We'll give that back on our way out. So it looks like we got logged into the computers. This is backup camera in case this one doesn't work anymore on my head. And then we have the auto script playback here and how it all works. There's a manual. It's pretty straightforward. And then we've got manuals on other items that are here too. So this is the Panasonic here. These are the actual cameras itself here. This is the Grass Valley switcher, this is the Grass Valley playback, which is this guy. Really cool guy. It records and plays back at the same time. And then we've got a P2/other media playback there. Alright, so let me fire up the auto script. And you'll see me like check stuff like this. I can see the recording lights in there. Verify it's still recording. Alright, so this is our auto script. So let me see if I can find one. File, open. Awesome, demo. I love demos. Makes it so much easier. Okay, and there's one that has a prompt preview window. I want that. And so when you start prompting, it will either go in order, and you also have a control here, so if you want it to zoom through stuff, it'll zoom through, or if you just want it to kind of slowly go through, we'll get that going. So see how it's going there? If we come back out to our monitors here, we should see it. We should see it. So as if somebody was reading it, they should be able to see the playback there. And that'll be on both playback cameras. Alright, so now that you see we have some video coming in here, all this stuff is powered up. Same with this one. That one's a warning light, which gives us a battery's too low voltage, even though it's plugged in. Should be okay there. I forgot about our TV. Alright, TV's probably blank. We don't have a no input though, which is good. Cool. Looks like we're in business there. Alrighty. Let's get these cameras lined up at something. Alright, so we got the screen and the green screen. And then this one, I was aiming for the chair and the green screen. This crossover. Let me jump up to these CCU units. I'm going to try and give you the best way I can. I think aux2 is... No, it's aux... Maybe it's just aux1. Aux1 controls this guy. Aux2 should control the TV monitor that's out there in the TV studio, like the news prompter monitor. So we're working with... We don't want auto, we want VB on. That's there. Iris. So this is our iris control. So this one's camera 1 here, this one's camera 2, which is what we had set up. So if I come in, we can mix in our colors here if we needed to. We can turn VB active on. You want to make sure the panel's active, you want to make sure the power's up. If there were P2 cards in here, you could actually control the entire camera from this place. You have the ability to do iris. Iris control. We don't want auto white balance. A lot of this stuff is not necessary to get it running, but can be used. There is one other switch on these. If this switch is not set to manual iris, which it looks like it wasn't, so we want that there. It's interesting why it didn't allow you to switch. Let me double check this one real quick. So this one's set to auto, so we want to make sure that one's set to auto too, and that should override our controls back here, or allow us to override back here from within the room and not Awesome, much better. So here's our iris control. This goes down to 1.4 on that one. And then, actually these lenses may not be 1.4s. I think they're 2.8s. Yeah, so see how there's not much actual change? So 2.8 kicks in. I don't know, man. We'll have to look at that later. I'll have to go take a look at those lenses. So this is probably the color mixing, or this is the color mixing one. This is going to be your best reference monitor. The one up there isn't as close to real color. This will actually give you in a histogram the closest color you can. So we're trying to get our blacks black, and then we have green back there. You can just split the difference as best you can. That looks pretty good there. I mean, we can bring the green down if we wanted to, make it a little nicer on the eyes, but we don't want to lose the entire black here. So that looks pretty good. And then if we switch, so we're on aux and then 2, oops, aux 1 and then input 2, we're going to want to try and match that. So I'm running at a 4 f-stop. Usually if you match these pretty close, you'll get ballpark. We're not aiming for exact science. We're just running off of eyes today. So this section allows you to actually mix colors differently. Let me see how the green jumps out in more or less in there. On the chair, you can adjust. If we had red in there, we could adjust more red. Make it look, I don't know how well this is actually coming out, but the blues are even changing in the blacks. That's on there. For the most part, we're going to want to go with up on that one, straight up. You can also turn it off by hitting this VB active, and then allow you to change that. Between that, that's about all you really get into on these. There's a lot more you can do, but just to get it up and running, that'll get you going. So the switching board here switches a couple of different things, and for our sake, I'm gonna go point the camera at that monitor so we can see what's going on. So we'll take our secondary camera and bring it back here. And then on this one, we're going to want to change the iris way up so we can at least see it. Alright. Okay, so camera 2. Alright, so there's our monitor there. We can see we actually have something on it, but then we're also recording something to it. So, alright, here's our playback. Here's our color correction monitor, and then on this monitor screen, what we're actually seeing in the background is the monitor that's out there. So back to the auxes I was talking about. Aux 1 will allow you to switch here what comes out on the different monitors. So if we're just dealing with this monitor right here, aux 1, we're going to select the input here. So we have input of camera 1, camera 2. If we had some playback stuff, it would be on these. Actually, I do have some playback stuff, so let me switch this over. If we go to 2, which is something we can see on camera 2 here, go back to aux 2, and then now we have the ability to switch the inputs. So on that TV monitor out there that's in the green screen room, we have that coming in. We have the ability to switch it to other inputs. Our program and preset are going to be what we see up here. So preview allows you to switch cameras here, and then if you do auto transition or cut, it will take whatever the camera is that's selected next. So underneath our program and preview, program's running camera 1 right now, and our preview's running camera 2. So if we do a cut, it will automatically cut between the two. Pretty straightforward. Alright, so in short, that's that. If we come over to our video world here, so we have playback and record. on this Grass Valley switcher, this top section right here is recording, and then the bottom two are playback. If we close the Panasonic down, okay, so we left off on the recording and playback of stuff. I'm going to try and go over the system as best I can. We still have the recording, we have the playback 1, playback 2, which didn't show up there on 3 and 4. And I think that's it. I think that is it. So this one defaulted. If we go back, stop, play, take it back. Oh, I lied. That's on 4 and 5, up on the preview monitor, or program monitor. We switched a couple of cameras, so some of this stuff will overlap a little bit. Over on this side here, we have the bin. We have the ability to browse, so if there was other items on like a transfer drive or some sort of a flash drive, you can plug those into any of these kind of plugs and get them on here. A lot of that stuff is pretty straightforward. You have the recycling bin, which is all stuff that's been trashed. This looks like it could probably get deleted. So if we use this and come down here, empty recycle bin, yes, all that stuff's gone. You have the ability to search. Say this had a lot of space on it, which ours does. It's got 8 hours and 40 minutes on it. Of storage, we have some videos in here in Alan's class. You have some in bin 2. So if you double click on it, and it'll bring it up on whatever is selected or highlighted here. So this one looks like it was a video. That one's also a video. This has audio here as audio playback, so you can go anywhere between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 playbacks for different channels. It might even be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 8 channels of playback. And so there we are on those. Ability to make that smaller. It gives you the info here. If you wanted to make a playlist, you can put a whole playlist of stuff in here. So say we wanted to add all of these into a playlist, we'll select them all, and what it'll do is it'll start converting into a playlist or something that can be played there. Back into the clip mode, because I don't really care about that today. Let's go back, drag some video down here. You have your controls for here, so you can go backwards. You can rewind. You can go frame by frame on these ones. You can forward, and you can jump. You can have it loop. You have E to E, so if you bring in your points here, oops, I didn't set those right. So you have a start point, end point that you can jump to, or you can actually set them where you want to start and end. So say you only wanted to play this much section, it will loop those areas. So we hit play. La 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 la. And there we go. We can also do 3D sync. Enable the sync playback mode. E to E must be unselected. Alright, so that's playback. You can also set durations on stuff. So that'll give you the total time for that clip. You can also lock this so nobody can play with it while it's being played. You can also unlock it. It's up to you. Mode. I want to say this allows it to be controlled down here. I don't believe so though. Or it allows it to remote send it out over the network. something we don't get into here. Transfers, and then you have the config for this. This is all the playback and how it's set up. I've never been into this, other than I think it allows you to change some of the settings on what's playback and what sizes of formats you have on P1 or P2, what settings you have for transfer in on media that comes in from flash drives, and I think that is basically this whole thing summed up. I've had this freeze up on us, which kind of stinks because it runs very well and then eventually it'll just die. We're still recording our 37-minute long thing here. We can stop that. We're no longer recording. Stop slashing here and stop slashing up there, but we'll continue playing back. Alright, so I had to switch cameras due to some stuff, so I'm going to try and get this as best I can. So our playback is here, our recording is here, which if you go in, there's two ways of operating this. You have the screen here, or you have this screen here, and then you also have keyboard and mouse here. So the keyboard and mouse, to me, is a little more function running. At least to make this work. So playback is here. If you go into system and you go to switch to workstation mode, this will allow this monitor to become functional, and it will gray out the playback and record here. But it doesn't disable these functions. You can still go through here to pull up stuff. This is just a little bit more intuitive on this side. So record, this will have everything that's coming into the video recorder, and then we have video playbacks here and here. So if I want to cue something up, all you want to do is you have your cue over there, and you can drag and drop it into there, or you can grab a bunch of stuff and drag and drop it in there. So now we have some items here that will play continuously. Down here, you have pretty much the same function. You select what you're looking for, and then switch it over. But because we're in workstation mode, we're going to have to play it through the computer here. So if we hit play on this, that'll play that clip forever and ever and ever, which is fine. And then we have our camera how to use dummies thing, and you'll see those show up on the monitor screen in the two spots where they're being played. So those look like they're 4 and 5 on the inputs. And that looks pretty good for us here. You have the ability to import stuff. It's got to be on a FAT32 or NTFS file format for this to work. This Grass Valley switcher seems to work on Windows for playback and recording, and you can also export the recorded stuff out if you want to. So to record here, you come up, select this, hit record, and then now it's actually recording what we want it to do, or what's coming out on program. So if we slide back over to our switcher here, and we go into, here's our program. So now we're on camera 1. It changes on the screen there. I'm going to switch over to camera 2, and then 4 is our tornado, and number 5 is a how-to video. And that's all being recorded right now as it goes in. You'll also see audio levels. As I work my way over, I'll kind of go through that and how it works. But this isn't a super low level stuff. This is more the high level of how this is working, how to get it up and running, and how to troubleshoot it. Two ways to transition stuff. You have the cut and auto trans. If you wanted to select a different transition, you can do like a wipe, and then these buttons up here allow you to wipe a certain way. So if we do like a corner into the edge, and then we go up to our transition out, I'll auto transit, and it goes across the screen. The next one will come up will just be a straight dissolve, and that's set up as the default. You also have this transition T-bar here, so I'm going to transition with that T-bar, and you can actually select how fast you want it to transition. You can do a slow transition or a fast transition, and then that's just done by running this lever here. That's pretty straightforward. Back to our auxiliaries. So I'm going to switch. We're looking at the monitor on camera 2, which is the monitor in the green screen room. So I'm back on auxiliary 2, and then I'm going to select like 4, and then out there we now have either the video that's being played back through the Grass Valley switcher, or we have our other playback, which is also in there, and we can switch between that. And that's with auxiliary 2, and then your aux now becomes active. Aux 3 isn't set up on this function in here, but it can be used for keying if you want to key it out. We just don't have a use for it, so we are using 1 and 2 only in this studio. So that is playback. That's the switcher. That's a transition. You also have the ability to key out stuff. So you have 3 different key selects, and then you have the transitions on them. This might take me a second to get it up and running, but we'll do a chroma key, and then we're going to want to select what color our chroma key is. We should be able to go into a green, unless I'm just blowing past it. Cyan, green. Alright, there we go. So, and then this push will set your key. So on our auxiliary, this key will become important. We'll want to select like camera 1. We'll set here, we'll initialize that, and then camera 1 should now be our key, and then we'll want to activate it there by coming out that. Sometimes takes me a second to get it going. Alright, there we go. I figured it. So our key for select 1 is going to be, we're going to key out the green on camera 1. Our background will be camera 2, which is showing the monitor there. Okay, and then we want to make sure our key is active. So on this monitor, we're showing 2 as the program. The preview is camera 1, and then if we want to add in our background or key, which is the overlaying layer, we press the dissolve or the auto key 1 trans, and that'll get you a very, very quick green screen setup. From there, you can also run different backgrounds. So in our preview, we're seeing the tornado just as the background, or we can even run the video. So that's camera 1, camera 2. And that's what we have coming out of here. Our video stopped. So let me start this video up again. Start this back up again. So now we're playing. We have that on 5. And so see, now I can then bring in 5 as the background video over the curtain. Or I can go back. So there's a lot of things this function, or these can actually function as. It just depends on what you're looking at to do. You also have the ability to do boxes with key 2 or key 3 select. So if we do key 2, and we're going to do an auto select on that one, we can even do a DVE, which is essentially a box. And then we're going to select input 4. We still want 1. No, we want 4 on that one. We're going to do trans 2. And then now we have the ability to move this or make it smaller and put it anywhere on the camera. So now we have this box on screen. We can make it bigger, we can make it smaller, we can fly it in if we want. There's a lot of options that can happen on this. And that's with trans 2, DVE. You hit select 2 for key and then your input. So now if we want to do 3, we can do another box in there. We'll select that. Our input will be 4 again. So I think that has just standard video graphics on it. We'll do transition 3. And then now what we want to do is the same thing. We want to resize and position wherever we want to. Or we can do an auto select, which will give you like this overhanging halo. You do like a 50%. And this is just all stuff we're playing with on these control knobs here. If you really want to get into the system, if something's like messed up or you need a status on something, everything on this top section here is going to control the system, and you have your different items here. So you have status, option, system, reference, config, reset, user, press, save, load. I don't think I've ever had to use the bottom ones here, just the top ones here, and then these buttons here to actually navigate the menu. If it's lit up, it's a function. If it's not lit up, it's not a function. So you hit menu, takes you back out to select the menu. So now I want a status, and it'll give me the status of what this is going on here. So you have some of the details of what we're working with. You need an option. There are no options on that one. So under system, you have the different modes that this can go into. I don't think we've ever had to go into this and change anything directly. Most of the stuff will just be ran as default. The couple of things we have had to verify is like under the reference, make sure the format size is set up to whatever this TV is setting it up for, that everything's running correctly. If you start changing this stuff around, it gets funky. You also have an external reference source, so you can actually change this. You have either internal or external. That controller down there that we had turned on separately where I popped the front off, that is that reference source that we're looking for on this. OS Sync 1, none of that stuff really applies to this. And then a sync, you have sync or no sync. We want it to sync because that's always a good thing. Everything talks right. If not, what we were noticing, if this controller that was over here was turned off, up here we would get this long, it almost looked like the frame was syncing. So it'd just do this really slow pan through the screen over about 2 minutes or so, and then the whole screen would just continue cycling. So That's the menu. If you want to get into the config, you can actually set up what the inputs do, so you can select what channels do what here. I wouldn't get into it if you haven't had a need to get into it, unless something's substantially messed up. Menu will get you out, or status will get you out. That is this crossover switch, crossover controller, however you want to use it. These two things right here, these are your controllers that run the power to those guys and the power to the cameras. Nothing super important except for they have the clearcom or the intercom that's being used or can be used for the two cameras. You can talk to each of these together. They're all synced up together on the back, so somebody that's operating the cameras can plug in here with a headset. They have the same options. They have a level for their mic. They can go on, off, or PTT. They have to push the PTT down though to talk. Tally or call will actually allow them to call the person, and then you also have a menu and select. That would be more as if there was a monitor hooked up to this, not necessary in this situation. The color correction, we got the teleprompter, which we went over. This teleprompter is plugged in with a USB here, and that runs out to a box right there, and then that converts it to a BNC, and then that BNC is sent over that cabling there, which then comes out with cabling on the other end, plugs in the monitor, and allows it to then be broadcast. We have a teleprompter controller here, so as you dial this up or back, it will stop our preview. So if we get our preview here, if I had some P2 media, which I don't have, I could show you how this Panasonic one plays. Oops, let's throw that back in there. This is pretty much the same thing as this guy. We haven't had this one fully functioning yet. I don't know if that's because we just haven't used P2 media or whatnot. That's what we have. So we have volume control here. You have the ability to put in cards here. This should keep it from closing all the way when there are cards there or stuff sitting out. That way these cards don't get crunched. There's also some extra slots over here that you can put in additional USBs, Firewire, SD card, stuff like that if you need to in this guy. This one's a little clunkier and doesn't accept every media. You also have eSAT on it too. That was the other thing it has. But for P2, this thing works wonderfully. Allows you to select clips. If you had something on P2 media, do our audio, you're gonna have to pardon the cable hanging there. I have it plugged in and charging. Our audio, we have clearcoms, so these control out the wireless. Then we have the ability for somebody to plug in here and then be on comm while also being able to run the mix board. So our board has been labeled. This is kind of a funky subject because if you've never been on a mix board, it's going to be hard for you to go exactly what's going on. In short, each of these channels right here is all the same all the way across here. So this one's a 16-channel Mackie mixer. You have Panasonic playbacks here. You have mic 1, mic 2 of the wireless mics, which are down here. You also have playbacks for, which is that T2 IDDR. So this is playback 1, playback 2, and then you have the outputs to these guys. This section right here are auxiliaries. These can feed, I think we have this one set up for, yeah, aux3 is the studio speaker, which goes out into the studio out there to then allow them to hear what's going on. This would only be used for playback of like video. I wouldn't send microphones back through it. And then below that, this section right here is the EQ for each channel, depending on how you have it come in. So our control rooms are 3 and 4 here, and then if we bring up 1 and 2, we'll want to make sure 3 and 4 are on. We should be hearing something out of there. Left, right, that goes there. And then the master out is the back to the TD2 DDR, which now we have audio coming in right here on our record channel. I think I see why. We have that there. Alright, so why are my speakers not coming up? Those are up, those are there. The other reason they may not be coming up is because of our amplifiers. Our amplifiers here run the speaker out there. They also run the speakers in here, or they're unplugged, which is not good, or they're muted. Those are not muted, not the issue. Subs 3 and 4. Three and 4, that goes there. That's good. So, okay, let me send something into auxiliary 3. So we have signal coming out. Interesting why it's doing that. And so then they go, this one then sends it over to this recorder, the IDDR2, and then the P2 deck. These two are actually sending recording back down into that. So you want to make sure you have on each one of these channels, back to each one of these is the same. You have a solo button, a 1 and 2, which assigns it to sub 1 and 2, 3 and 4, which assigns it to sub 3 and 4, and then L and R, which sends it to the master. So ideally, we're going to want all of the bottom 3 selected, so we're sending audio to every one of those positions. Alright, I think that is all of them. We can undo solo, that's not important. So now, so 3 and 4. That one doesn't matter. Oh, okay, there we go. Now we actually have it correct. So here's your master. If you hit solo, it'll override whatever's there, so we don't want solo on, and we want our master set back up. And on these, you're going to want to set your gain to where you're either A, getting some level here. Why is it not giving me a level? Okay, so there we're going for our monitor. So we're going to want to keep this as close to 0 as we can. This is already backed all the way down on our gain, and so that gets us where we're looking at there. If we go over the 0 into the red, it just, the more you add on to the audio signal as it's being processed through the different channels, it gets you closer and closer to the overload, which does not sound pretty. Just for demonstrational purposes, I'll bring that up. Sounds very distorted. Sounds very distorted, very nasty sounding. As opposed to that, you don't hear the distortion in there. You can also EQ. So if we need more high end, You can hear the high end there. Take the high end out, add some more mids. The mid has a sweep on it, so it goes from 100 hertz all the way up to 8,000 hertz, depending on what we're looking for. And then you have the ability to add more low end. Get rid of that mid. So that's in short what the EQ does, kind of like a car stereo. Kill that, kill that. 3, our monitor level 3, which is this orange one, is actually what feeds the speaker out there in the green screen room, so as a playback. And then this one feeds this record here. So if we were to go back into our monitor here and hit record, we'll now get the audio coming in here or coming in there that will then allow it to be recorded on. And that's all coming from this board here. Unplug real quick and we can go out to, still recording. I'm gonna go out and grab some of our microphones and our clear comms. So back in our storage room, we have a couple of things. We have our P2 cards. I'll grab one of those to show you how those work. We have our in-ear monitor systems. We have our wireless mic kits. We have our clear comms, our wireless clear comms. Earplugs and batteries for said wireless mics. We have actually 2 lav mics there, and then 2 IEM receivers. So these will feed the board mix back into Alright, let me grab just one of these. It should still have batteries. If not, we can swap out the batteries. Yeah, so this one's got a battery. We're good here on this one. And it'll vibrate to tell you that it's on. Let me grab these. We'll take them into the room. Actually, we can probably do the rest of this here. Got that. We've got a P2. We've got wireless mics. Don't need earbuds. Don't need earbuds or cables. Actually, I might need one of these just for demonstration. Okay, I think that is everything. Alright, let me show you this telex real quick. So what this allows you to do, or this clearcom, so this allows everybody that's on this wireless system to talk to each other. You can also do a stage one. Check, check, check. Check, check. It's kind of hard to hear, but you check. Hey, everybody, get on the stage. This speaker up here is actually the talkback speaker for this. You have the ability to call, so if anybody else was on it, it would go blue-doo-doo-doo-doo. And then you have 2 channels in here. So you have channel 1. If it's lit up like that, you're able to talk. You can talk on both at the same time if you want. This is good for like mixing or splitting stuff. Or if you just have it on that, you just have it set to a volume, and then your volume control is here. That's pretty much a comm system. These ones are wireless with rechargeable batteries. They also do take AA's. Just depends on what they're being used for. So to turn these off, power button's here, and it should turn off that way. So that's the clear comm. the rest of this can go into the other room, and we can go over it. These are in-ear monitor packs, and these are pretty straightforward. What these do is you have an on and a headphone. These sync up with the audio coming out of this, so those are them. There's 3 of these guys that are all playbackable. They're pretty easy, if not already set up. Directions are right there. Should be right there, and they run off of 9 volts batteries. Alright, here's the kit. Normal headphone comes out. This guy would go on to desired said level, follow the cable. This is the actual speaker here, and then you get one of these guys, snaps on there, and then earpiece goes in there. This thing goes into talent's ear of choice, and this gets clipped onto them wherever they choose, and over the ear it goes, and down the back and into a pocket with this guy. So we're still recording. These are the handheld mics. There were 2 with ours, so we can either have lav mics or we can have handheld mics. We still have batteries on these. So these Sony ones use the same frequencies as the lavalier mics. We'll get into those in a second. These came with clips. They go on a mic stand if you want, or you can just have your talents talk with these. On this, these sync up to this guy down here. So your channel numbers here, so 4201 should match up here with 4201, and what's there, another one, 4203, and we should also get check, 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 check. We get levels on that one, at least to the unit itself. Back to our soundboard. So mic 1 is this one, and so we're going to want to go up to the gain to get it in the ballpark. Check, 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 check. Alright, so we're good there. Check, check, check. So if I bring up the level there, and then check, 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 1, 2, 3, check, check, check. Testing 1, 2, 3. So we actually have a level there. Check, 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 check. And that's going into our outputs there. So you have mic 1, mic 2. I'm going to turn this one off and then switch over to lavalier. So the lavalier is very much the same way. Get this untangled. Alright, so this is pretty much the same as the lavalier. Really easy. You have the ability to pop batteries in it. Just take 2 AA. You have the ability to turn it on. 4201, same channel as the first mic that we were working with. And this is ability to lock on. So it's got the safety lock and then the pole. Almost like a BNC cable. So if we grab this, you'll want to put this someplace on the talent. Drop that in. We've got our pouch. And then you have the belt pack for them to actually wear it. So if we go back to our mic 1, check, 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 1, 2, 3, check. Same frequency, which makes it very, very easy. You can get windscreen adapters that go on this to knock off some of the pop, pop, pop. And I think that's it. So we've got one of each of those. Let's see what this one's set to. So 4303 is this one. See if this is synced up to this other channel. Gain up the volume. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. So we've, on our second mic channel, we've got volume here and here. One other thing I want to show you. So I'll bring this up here, and then I'll bring this up here. And if we walk into the other room, we should be getting volume from there. Which we are. This speaker right here. We do have a battery charger for the ClearComs, so they can go in there and get charged. We ran into an issue where these ones were not charging right, or they would sit on the charger for too long and then blow up. So because of the studio not being utilized, so we ended up pulling those and going with AA's. We also ended up going with leaving them off because of the studio not being that often. On these cameras, there's a couple of things I wanted to show. So the first one was the macro. So if you're getting in for a really close and tight shot right here, you can use this macro setting. So it allows you to actually get really close with the camera. On the handlebars, I'm going to pull this off so we can all see the monitor. So here's the monitor, and here's what's going on. So right here you have the zoom, so you can zoom in, zoom out. That's on the left hand side. On the right hand side is the zoom in, zoom out. So here's the zoom in, zoom out. And then over here you actually have the focus reel. So here, let me zoom in so we have something that's out of focus, and then we'll slowly bring it into focus there. So there we are, we're on focus now. Out of focus again if we wanted to. You can use special effects for that. I mean, however you're looking to do camera work, it's kind of up to viewer discretion at that point. Panasonic, if we had plugged in microphones in here, you can run them through this section and this section for the audio. You have 2 XLR ports. Should be 2 XLR ports. They keep moving them. So you have channel 1 and channel 2, and they're down here. So you have them right here on this camera. So if you pull these covers off, you get the 2 ports there. You can go in 1 or 2 or both. And then right above it you have phantom power or line or mic level for those. And that gets you the ability to run microphones out here. That would be in addition to the wireless or something else. Say you needed something in addition to it, those are there. You have the level controls here, which you'd want to check with the audio guy that would be running the sound back there to then get your levels. You can also select how you want these to be managed, either on automatic or manual mode. Manual mode would override these and allow you to control your volume there. Automatic kind of just runs it with that. In your audio in 1, 2, 3, and 4, so I guess there are 4 channels, and it may be picking up what's up here on the viewfinder area as a microphone too. With these you can then select what you want, so you can either do front XLR ports. Alright, now I'm curious because the XLR ports should be up here in the front-ish area. Oh, right there, mic in. That's not a mic though. So we have 1 mic in on the front. So you can go front or rear or WL. This one has a P2 slot here, or SD card slot here, so you can actually record exactly what's coming off the camera. This is all the controls for the camera. You have an ND filter right here. hopefully that's coming out in there. So usually if you don't want an ND filter, if you're indoors, you can kick it off, or if you only want 1 or 2 layers of it, you're good there. So this one has 4 layers of ND. I'm assuming 1 is no filter. You have the ability to put zebra on or off. You'll see it zebra there. You have the ability to set presets in here if you wanted to set that up. You also have user 1 and user 2, which haven't been set up yet, but these are the functions when you start pulling. White balances, you can also set up more advanced features like that. So if user 1 has a color balance a certain way, has the camera set up, a frame rate, all that stuff, that can be saved within this here. You have monitor there, which I'm assuming is the headphone monitor, and then you have scene files, which you wanna save. So this is back to either when the card's recording, or if you have certain presets set up on how each camera should look. You can flip through that. On display mode, you can then select what comes up on the display mode. That's it. From here, you can also get into the menu. Because we have the CCUs over there, they lock this section out on the cameras, so it's not necessary. The idea for these is to make these as user-friendly as possible, and a lot of the users, what they're going to be using is something here, not necessarily something up here out of their field of view. So that's a camera as easy or as quickly and efficiently as it can be. With the lights is up here. We have, see these Videscents VP 4X 600s. Those are the dimmer packs for all the fluorescent lights. And with the DMX controlled board that I was showing earlier, this is what tells those lights what to do. So for example, say we brought these down to about half. Oh nice, we're not getting enough power for those LED spots. They're starting to flicker. See how it's flickering? Huh, interesting. So the LED spot doesn't have enough power to actually stay on long enough, but those dimmer packs up there will allow them to be controlled from back there. So there's 3 of them. There's one up there, one right there, and then one for the back here. The back looks like it only controls these 2. So if I were to guess, that's channel 9 and 10. And then you have, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 there. And if we were to double check that on the board, I'd probably be right. So say I were to kill those, yeah, those look like the backlights there. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Alright, so one more thing I wanted to go over is put away, or at least clean up what we do. So for us, we'll pull down all the lights, we'll hit blackout. Basically it's everything in reverse. Try to do this as best as I can. We'll fire those off. We have blackout, gray screen, because there's no camera info coming in. We'll shut this down. Yeah, sure. Close it all out. Shut down. We'll shut down this. Alright, those are good to go. Turn this guy off. That's off. We want to turn these off here so they actually turn off the cameras. We'll also kill the power back here and there. So this whole rack should be off now. We'll want to kill the power on this. Slide this up. Alright, so this one, we're not recording. Oh, we still are recording. Cannot stop. See, unable to exit application. Alright, so we're going to stop this, stop this. Alright, nothing's playing. We're going to hold this down and it should shut down that. Hey, look, it looks like Windows. Alright, we can close these lids. I want to turn the power off on this guy. Alright, and kill the power here, and bring all of our levels down. Make sure this is zeroed back out, at least on the gains across the top, and everything's down here. That looks good. We'll turn this off for the clear comms. We'll turn this off, which is a relay for the clear comm. Turn the amps off here, and then we'll turn the bottom off, and we'll also have to turn the sync off, which is just right up in there. And then from there, we'll turn this guy off here. Alright, and we'll start pulling all of this stuff, everything we had set up, and putting it away. I forgot to show you the P2 cards. So these are P2 cards. These are basically like SD cards, except they're more expensive and don't hold as much. They're 64 gigabytes. I think we have 4 of them here. One per camera, and then allow you to put 2 in here. And these are all swappable, so you can hot swap them after they've been cleared, kind of like a flash drive. They actually are PCMCIA cards with storage on. And looks exactly like PCMCIA. Panasonic came out with the technology. They hold HD video. They seem to work fine. Let's go back into the bundle. Alright, I think we're done for back there. We will need to tear down all this stuff. And we'll do this basically in reverse order. So, cable comes out, power cable comes out. This one, what we'll do is we'll swap this up and we'll put it in the bottom down here. My experience with this is you want to make sure, put the cables in last, make sure everything's out of the way when you're closing it up. Alright, so we'll do that. Everything looks good, going down fairly well. And then there's a latch down there. I don't know if you can see it, but we want to get that bolt to lock down, so this actually almost like a hood release on a car. So it locks that TV down. We'll then lock this up here. And we'll put the cases covers back on. These do have an order, so the heavier one, could be wrong, I think goes on the front. There should be V's that all match up, so you want to make sure you have your V's in the right spot. Double check. So we have V to V. Yeah, looks like the case. And just want to make sure everything locks down correctly. Same order it came out. Everything still looks like it fits right. So we've got the 3 V's that all match up, indicating that it's cleared and good to go. Alrighty, so we can actually grab that one cable, wrap it up, put it on the hook hanger. And for all your cables, you're going to want to wrap these over under. If you don't know what I mean by that, so see how it normally goes, and then this one actually goes under. So over, under, over, under, and then whatever you have left, coil it up. Good there with that one. Alright, let's take this camera down first. We can leave the headphones attached because they're in. We'll unplug it from the wall. And unplug it from the base. And same thing, I do over under. I'll probably go bigger loops on this one since it has to go on the handlebars of this tripod. That can stay there. Cool. And then we undo these 2 connectors as best we can. People with smaller fingers can usually get in there a little bit better. And everything just comes out in reverse order. Alright, and these you also want to do over under. So, as best you can, because of the thickness of the cable. Over. Actually, this one just looks like it needs to get pulled out. Alright, same thing, unplug those, we'll wrap this cable up. I don't know who wrapped these before. Does not look good. Clean up that. Oh, I forgot the cameras. Put the cameras away. Now we're going to wrap this over under also. Alrighty, I think we're in business with that. We're going to want to walk these in there as best we can. Want to live right there. We're done with this cabinet. I got to go put that P2 back. Alright, P2. And I think that's it. I think that is it for this. Let's clean up. close the cabinet. Kick door stop out of the way. Obviously somebody left this a mess from last time. So get that. Oh, I forgot the TV too. TV monitor. Alrighty. Done in there. I need to grab my radio and clean up my video stuff. Awesome. Lights for us are here. We can leave one set on for people coming in and doing. Put the trash can back. Leave it as best we can. There. Is okay for you. Alright, I'm out.